Hey everyone, Steve here from NetBees, and today I'm going to show you something pretty cool, and that is how to install Docker for Windows. And the reason why this is really useful for us over at NetBees is Docker for us kind of acts as a virtual instance within an application. So you can actually install Docker right onto a laptop or desktop that is connected to a network, and then install an agent right into that and have that running in the background without even noticing. You don't have to spin up a whole separate virtual instance. It's really nice to have. So the first step is we're going to go ahead and show you how to install Docker, and it's only a couple steps, but we do have to look at the requirements first to see if this is something that you can do. Now, looking at the support, you do need Windows 10 Pro or Enterprise only. And the way to do that is right-click this PC on desktop and go to Properties. Home will not work. Now, for the CPU to be supported, you need to have either a Intel chip newer than 2005 or AMD chip newer than 2006 for VT-X or AMD-V support. That being said, I would strongly recommend that your system have at least 4 processing cores, logical and physical mix is fine, and at least 8 gigs of RAM. An agent ideally would probably use about 1 core and up to 1 gig of RAM for all the tests that it runs, so we definitely don't want to bog down the system. So here we're going to go ahead and download the stable version of Docker. The Edge version, not really recommended to do, especially if you're new to Docker. Also, while this is going on, make sure you sign up. You're going to need a unique Docker ID, email, and password. And while this is downloading, let's make sure that virtualization is enabled. We already talked about making sure that it is supported. Now, as we said, you need Windows 10 Pro or Enterprise, 64-bit processor, 4 gigs RAM. You can run this through command line if you're comfortable with that. It's relatively easy. So you can run this command in command line and see if the Hyper-V requirements are enabled. You can also Control-Alt-Delete, go to Task Manager, you click on the little down arrow, go to Performance. You can see if virtualization is enabled. And if it's not, then what you're going to do is enable it within the BIOS. So a couple ways you can do this: reboot your computer and hit either delete or F2 on most desktops. Laptops can be anywhere from F1, F2, F3, F10, F8, F12. It can vary. If you're not sure, this is going to be the easiest route. Go to Settings, Update Security Recovery. Under Advanced Settings, hit Restart Now. Then go to Troubleshooting, Advanced Options, UEFI Firmware Settings, UEFI BIOS or Standard BIOS, and click Restart. Depending on which kind of computer you have, it may have a basic BIOS like this. It may have a UEFI nice user interface BIOS where you can use your mouse. Where you're going to find virtualization is either going to be in an Advanced tab under Configuration, or if it's a more advanced like UEFI, you may have to go to an advanced mode. And it's usually under, in this case, like a CPU settings, something with the word of virtualization. So you may have to Google the motherboard to figure it out. But what you're looking for Intel can be Intel Virtualization Technology, Hyper-V, VT-X. It may also be AMD-V for AMD systems. AMD also is SVM. That also is a word that they use, or Vanderpool. Once that is done, we need to then boot and enable it within Windows 10. What you'll do is literally copy and paste this into the search bar, scroll down to Hyper-V and check it off, hit OK. Windows will then install a couple things for you. Then you'll be asked to reboot the PC, and now virtualization is done. Now let's go ahead and install Docker. Simply click the link that we downloaded here. Then we'll go ahead and do the installation process. We're not going to check this off because with NetBees, we work with Linux. So we're going to want to default to Linux, but you can change this very easily. Hit OK and let it do its install. Now you can see this is done. So we're going to open up two things. First is going to be Docker Desktop App. Right-click, hit Run as Admin. That is very important. And we're going to do the same thing with command line. The first time that Docker runs, it does take a little bit to get up and running. So it is currently starting. What I will show you here is a couple things. By default, I'm already signed in. It's going to ask you to sign in with your username and your password, or your ID and password, not your email. The other thing is, this is where you can switch between Windows and Linux containers. So we're going to wait on that. Obviously, we want to work in the default Linux container. So we can see we're currently logged in. It is now up and running. Perfect. Now what we're going to want to do is go back here, click here where it says Docker Desktop from Windows Documentation, and we're going to want to copy this command. And if this is up and running, we're going to want to paste it in here. Perfect. This is exactly what this tells you. It's going to say, unable to find image, blah, 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 which is good. And what you're looking for is this right here. Hello from Docker. This message says your installation appears to be working correctly. Boom. Docker is installed and done. So next steps, feel free to reach out to us at sales@netbees.net. I'm actually a part of that email, so I will get the email myself. And especially if you need help with the next step, which is installing a Docker agent with NetBees, that's going to be the next video. And once that is done, you'll actually be able to monitor the network that your system is currently attached to. If it's a different network than what you're already monitoring, you might have to set up some ports to be opened, but you should already have that information to you in the documentation. And then more importantly, setting up VPN monitoring in this current time with what we're dealing with here in the United States and across the world, having to work remotely and from home, that is something that's very crucial. So there will be a link in the description to our blog post on how to do that. But that's pretty much it for today. Hopefully you found the video informative and useful. Like the video if you liked it. Share with anybody that you may find this would be useful for. And as always, this is Steve from NetBees, and I'll see you in the next video.